Yeah, hello friends. We have a very young and dynamic leader into the school education space, Mr. Harsh Kapadia ji. He's a trustee from the H.B. Kapadia New High School, Ahmedabad. We welcome you, Harsh ji, in today's event.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure attending and it was a pleasure coming here and meeting all the distinguished guests. So really pleasure coming. Thank you.
Let me ask you in the connecting link with the panel topic which you had today, digital learning for all. So what are the initiatives into the digital education space in your schools?
So AI is the future and AI is here to stay. The first thing that we need to do is to train educators. AI in education will not begin with algorithms. AI in education will begin with trained teachers. The first thing is to train teachers. So we did a training last year where we trained all our 500 teachers into AI education. How do you use AI tools? How do you make presentations? How do you make notes, worksheets, websites, apps? Every single teacher has been trained in AI education. Because today a young child who's talking in class about Gemini and if a teacher is not knowing what is Claude, what is Gemini, there is a disconnect. And the student will immediately say that my teacher doesn't know what's happening in the world. So teachers have to be obviously at least going hand in hand with the knowledge of the student. So training teachers were very important. Second is we have to teach students about AI, about cyber security, about skills that will be needed in the future from a very early age. So we have introduced a program called Future Edge program right from grade 1, where we teach students about digital wellness, cyber security, AI, robotics, coding right from grade 1. So it's not something that you have to teach from at a grade 9 or grade 10. So all these skills need to be taught to students, and these are the ABCs of today's world. These are the basic literacy that needs to be given to the child. A for AI, B for blockchain, and C for cyber security. So data is a new textbook, and we have to ensure that how do we prepare our students for the future. If you look at Singapore, if you look at Estonia, if you look at China, students pick up from a very early age. I think we need to catch up.
Is it is too early to burden an early or a developing mind for a child about digital space so much? And when it is yes, then who is the teachers are main implementers and they are the guide to the students. So in what capacity are we doing the teacher training program when digital implementation is required?
So at an early age, it's not about burdening the child. I think AI is everywhere. If you go on Alexa, the child will say, "Hey Alexa." You use an iPhone, it's like, "Hey Siri," what is that? It's AI. So anyway, the child is on the iPad, child is already using it, AI in some way or the other. Okay, so it's not about burdening, it's about guiding them in the right direction. If we do not catch them early and guide them on how to use these tools, it may become a disaster in future. So how do we ensure that they are taught in the right manner to use these tools? AI is obviously every single place. So there is no saying that child is not exposed. We cannot run away. We have to accept it and ensure that we have the checks and balances in place to ensure that child is in a safe environment. At the same time, as I mentioned, that AI in education doesn't begin with algorithms, it begins with empowered educators. The first thing that we need to do is to train our teachers on AI, on cyber security, on the basics of AI and all these tools. So I think continuous training of teachers is mandatory, and then it can go to the students.
Sir, when you talk about taking an admission in any school, it becomes a lot of challenging. In fact, a lot of research is required from mouth publicity to questioning to website search. What are the key parameters which a parent should think before, before selecting a good school for their child?
So obviously trust is a very important factor in education, because the moment you want to put your child in a school, every school is doing wonderfully well, there's no question, everybody is trying to do their best. But what is the most important factor is trust. That this is the school that I can trust, that my child will become a good human and will be given the tools that will make him ready for the future. Every 5 years, 10 years, the world keeps changing. 65% of students entering grade 1. So a new student who's taking admission in a school in grade 1, 65% of 100 students will be in jobs that do not exist today, when they will be job ready. So what is being taught will be redundant, and what is going to be useful does not exist today. So you have to ensure that a school will be doing justice to the students if they're focusing on skills that will be needed instead of content. Today content is no longer inaccessible. Previously we had parents and students come to school to understand, to get answers to questions, because they didn't know a lot of stuff. Today there are answers in the whole world. Everywhere there are answers. Now asking the right questions is more important, which is called prompt engineering today. So what questions should I ask them to get the right answers? And skills. Skills include not just about digital skills. Obviously, digital skills are most important, but about physical health, mental health, overall well-being, environmental stewardships. All these are issues which are very, very important for the future. And staying on Earth, on this planet, what are the issues that will remain in the future, and what are the skills that will be needed to solve those problems, and learning how to learn. I think that's most important. You have to keep adapting to new and new technologies. See, you were not taught Gmail in your school. You must have studied in a best school. You were not taught your Instagram. You were not taught how to Google, because that knowledge did not exist. So, but you adapt. That's what is going to happen. So we have to focus on how do you learn yourself and keep adapting to new and new times that we'll see in the future.
What are the takeaways of today's events when we see representation from school education, higher education, government, and even corporate at a common platform? What is the learning for a society at large?
So it was a great interaction, meeting new people. A lot of people had come, a lot of school educators and representation from the government. And I think overall the focus is on making good human beings who are ready for the future. I think that is the one line takeaway which I strongly believe in, which was a consensus amongst all the people on the panel, saying that how do we ensure that we have good human beings. I think more and more extremism that the world is seeing in the current times, be it wars, a bit more polarized way of thinking. I think we have to ensure that we are rooted in our values, we are rooted in our own Indian ethos, and we are good human beings first, and somebody who are ready to face the future. So being a good human being and ensuring that we are ready to face the future at the same time, I think the balance is important.
Thank you so much, Harsh Bhai, for being a part of this forum. It was a pleasure meeting you.